Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin and Union Home Minister Amit Shah have locked horns over the delimitation issue, reiterating that the delimitation was a Damocles sword hanging over South Indian states. Stalin has convened an all-party meeting to discuss the issue. The Home Minister, of course, has assured that South Indian states will not lose a single seat in the process. Why is this issue of delimitation being raked up now, and what is the reality? Vanakkam, this is Suresh Kumar. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Hindu Focus Tamil Nadu. If you recall, we had discussed this particular issue of delimitation about 4 months ago. However, today we are going to decode the statements of Stalin and Amit Shah on delimitation, which is essentially an exercise to redraw the borders of electoral constituencies based on population. On February 25, when thousands of government employees had gone on a mass casual leave protesting the government's failure to implement promises it made in the election manifesto, Chief Minister Stalin had an unscheduled interaction with journalists in Chennai. He announced that he has convened an all-party meeting of 40 registered political parties in Tamil Nadu on March 5 to discuss the impact of the proposed delimitation exercise. Stalin argued that not just Tamil Nadu but the entire South India will be penalized in terms of lower representation in the Lok Sabha on account of its successful implementation of population control and delivering on the human development indices. Stalin pointed out that although the delimitation was frozen until after the census of 2026 to encourage states to implement population control, there has been no equitable implementation of the scheme as of now in the country. And therefore, he demanded a fair, transparent and equitable approach to the delimitation. A day later, Home Minister Amit Shah, who was in Coimbatore, accused Stalin of raking up this issue to divert the attention of the people of Tamil Nadu. Amit Shah said that the Modi government has guaranteed in the Lok Sabha that the delimitation shall be based on pro rata basis and not a single seat would be reduced from the total number of the South Indian states representation in the Lok Sabha. In fact, he said that when the seats increases, the Modi government will ensure that the just share of that increase is allotted to the South Indian states as well. The Home Minister's remarks clearly indicate the intent of the centre to undertake the exercise of delimitation that has been frozen for nearly 50 years. When he guaranteed that no state will lose a single seat, it leads to the inference that the delimitation will not be based on the current numerical strength of the Lok Sabha, that is 543 seats. Instead, it shows the centre wants to increase the number of Lok Sabha seats, and that is why Shah said that states on a pro rata basis will get an increased allocation of seats after delimitation. Now, we need to look at Shah's remarks in the context of what he said in the Lok Sabha in September 2023. Back then, the Home Minister had said that the centre will undertake delimitation and conduct the census after the general election. Significantly, Shah did not specify when the decennial census that was due in 2021 and was put off on account of the COVID pandemic will be conducted. Now, the year when the census is conducted is very crucial because the 84th constitutional amendment, on the basis of which the delimitation exercise was frozen for a further period of 25 years, makes it clear that delimitation must be based on the census that is conducted after the year 2026. Ordinarily, this would have meant that the census of 2031 would have been taken into account for delimitation. The Home Minister's remarks indicate that the 2021 census will actually be undertaken after 2026, so that this becomes the trigger date for the delimitation exercise, and India will most likely have a larger Lok Sabha in 2029. Now let's take a look at the population data. The 1971 census, on the basis of which the last delimitation was undertaken, showed that India had a population of 54.81 crore. The last census of 2011 shows India's population is somewhere around 121 crore plus. Now the figure is most likely to have crossed 140 crore. Therefore, there is clearly an imbalance in the way people have been represented in the Lok Sabha, which is the House of the People. Nearly 25 years ago, when the 84th Constitutional Amendment was made, political scientist Alistair Macmillan had drawn up a study on population and democratic structure. He used the 2001 census figures as the base and drew up a delimitation model. This showed that the southern states, at that time there was no Telangana, so we had a composite Andhra Pradesh, was overrepresented in Lok Sabha by 14 seats. Tamil Nadu, according to him, was the most overrepresented state, and Uttar Pradesh was the most underrepresented state. According to him, the average constituency population in Uttar Pradesh was about 5 lakh more than that in Kerala. And he said if the delimitation is to be deferred until 2031, then the average constituency population in UP would go up more than twice than what is seen in Kerala at that point. So fast forward to 2019, a study by Milan Vaishnav and Jamie Hinson, drawing heavily from the Macmillan model, came up with certain population-based projections for 2026. Now, as per this model, if the number of Lok Sabha seats remain unchanged at 543, then Uttar Pradesh and Bihar together will gain about 21 seats, and Tamil Nadu and Kerala combined will forfeit 16 seats. On the other hand, if no state is to lose any representation, then the overall strength of the Lok Sabha needs to be revised to 848. As per this second projection, Uttar Pradesh strength will go up to 143, whereas Tamil Nadu will get 49 seats in the Lok Sabha, and on the other hand, Kerala seats will remain at the current 20. In addition to this, the southern states also face the risk of losing out on the total number of seats that are reserved for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, whereas the Hindi-speaking states, which are more in terms of population, will gain on that aspect. This study had also thrown light on the political implications. It said that the BJP would gain political power at the cost of southern regional parties. This population-based delimitation model actually reinforces what eminent journalist Rami Chabra, who is an expert in population studies, said in 2000. She said that on the basis of this model, more seats would accrue to those states which had failed to implement population control measures. So essentially, that would mean that states which were derelict in their duties will actually gain more in terms of representation in the Lok Sabha. So what is the way out? One possible solution would be to undertake the census immediately without waiting till 2026. That would mean that the next delimitation exercise will be based on the next census after 2026, that is beyond 2031. But this, of course, will bring into the question as to what happens to the one-third reservation for women that has been promised in Parliament and assemblies. Because the women's reservation is to be implemented on the basis of the census that is to be published after 2023. This could perhaps be tackled if the centre decides to implement reservation for women based on the forthcoming census, if it is taken before 2026 without altering the actual number of seats in the Lok Sabha. The delimitation exercise on an overall basis can perhaps be undertaken later. At the same time, one needs to be cognizant of the fact that postponing a census or delimitation is only a temporary solution, because as and when it is conducted and if it is to be based on the population model, then in any case there will be regional imbalances. Therefore, the government could perhaps use the opportunity in the coming years to have wider dialogues with multiple meetings with states and stakeholders, and perhaps come up with a pro rata model that may not be entirely based on the population figures. But this is easier said than done. Let's see how the centre is going to tackle this particular issue and whether the rest of South India will stand with Tamil Nadu on the aspect of delimitation. On that note, this is D. Suresh Kumar signing off. I shall meet you in another video. Thank you.